Let's see where we're at now. What is this? See, so now my shit's all fucked up. Wow. I don't need two activity feeds. Whew. Okay. Gonna save that. Can you guys even hear me or see me? Looking kind of funny over here right now. I'm not liking the way I'm looking. Everything's kind of looking a little funny. I'm not showing up on my stream manager. What's going on with that now? Mm. This is no fucking warning. All right. So I'm not sure what the fuck I can see, but let me see if I can go on my Twitch here. Let's see here. Okay. How do I sound to you guys? Do I sound decent? Sound decent? Sound decent? All right. So what I'm having issue with now is my OBS. Um, um, close all that shit out. All right. We're still rocking and rolling with that. There we go. That feels a little better. Let's see. Boom, boom, boom. Whew. Okay. That was a thing right there, man. That was a thing. Uh, so what the hell we got going on? I could have sworn I saw um yeah, I could have sworn I seen that. Which one called it? This live's been crazy today. So, mm, this is so odd. I don't see my. Uh, I don't know. My stream manager is fucked up. I don't know how to get it back together again. Yeah, I can't even see myself on my stream. Well, I can see myself in OBS, but let's see about it. And I don't see none of my chat no more. Uh, Technical difficulties today, guys. Technical fucking difficulties today. It's insane. It's just crazy, cuckoo, insane. Um, my chat was up once upon a time. Yeah. Okay, let's go to stream preview. There we go. Okay. It still looks weird though. I like the way it looks. Why does it got this URL shit? Not liking how it's looking. Um, all right. Boom. Chat is there. Sorry guys for the technical issues, man. This is just great. I don't like the way my screen is looking right here. Looking a little funky monkey. I'm getting it. I'm getting it. Let's quit that. Um, why is pages on? Let's quit that. Shut that down real quick. Shut that down. That's just shutting lots. I have a lot of stuff open for some odd reason. I don't want that shit fucking with my stream. Um The only thing I can really do is here and see how the fuck I look. I look odd. Yeah, I don't look good to fix this. Yo, shit like this happens on for real. I'm sure I can know. Um, it happens, but there we go. Now that's way fucking better. Whew. Okay. All right. That was a pain in the ass, man. But thank you for working out with me, guys, and staying tight. I definitely gotta fix this fucking camera situation because it's not in the best location. And so you get this angled side view of me and shit. One of three keyboards. Upgrading my keyboards. One more using keyboard situation because yeah, I go live on TikTok, but it's a pain in the ass right now. TikTok, like, um, you can see I'm at always stay strapped. Ah, fuck. I'm sorry. Today's just been. I'm just tired. Woke up. Um, I just yeah. So right now I have a vertical 15-inch screen over here, right? And it's dope. It works well. And that's the little shadowy thing you see right there. That's what I'm trying to get rid of. And so I can do that. But this fucking stand that I got for this camera is horrible. I need to get a proper look at that. It's just falling back. That's crooked and shit. I need to get a better fucking stand. That's what it comes down to. Now you're just seeing this crazy ass profile. I need to get more dead on. Do you want to do this way? Is dead on? I just wonder if I should watch everything that's fits in the screen so you can fucking like see me more. But so I do that, and maybe there's a route to go. Maybe I'm gonna use this have OBS inside over here. I can't do that because my screen capture is on this other screen. I'm gonna have to fuck with it another time. I don't want to waste your guys' time watching me trying to fuck with this shit on live. That's my ADHD acting up right there. I do got to study. It's ready 12:30. Yeah. Damn. Okay. I got nothing I'm gonna watch right now. But hold on one second. Hmm. Hmm. It's been crazy, man. Sorry, I got to focus on. All right, we're gonna try to find some shit to watch together because let's see what we got going on. Yeah. See, most of the stuff I like to watch isn't very child friendly. You know what I'm saying? So I have to be real careful on my selection here. So yes, indeed, yes, indeed. Let's watch this. Let's see.
TV shows ever. Now you can see them on the silver screen in the new Western, The Thicket. It opens at theaters Friday. Please say hello to Peter Dinklage. Well, how are you, Peter?
Hi.
Oh my gosh, your face is missing something. The
Yeah,
beard, the
I
mustache.
look like a fat baby, or like a pencil eraser or something.
Do you think you don't have the,
Anything unattractive is what I look like right now.
I don't think so. I disagree. I mean, I think most of the time, guys
Said
like
by the
me
man who has a beard.
will have a beard because they don't have a great like chin or like but you have like really like almost superhero quality.
What's going on, Riches?
I mean, facial hair for me is just about hiding, and it's a little different.
Yo, I spent like 30 fucking minutes. Fucking my Streamlabs got fucked up. I was trying to do like a video thing, but the person else I didn't know how to work it, so I gotta work with them on Discord to show them how to work their shit. But yeah, I'm just like not happy with my setup right now. I really have to figure out my true set. I gotta get a better dead on camera. Look how you got one on top. I have to get that fucking that camera mount. I think I really need to have that because the camera angle I feel like it's not a good angle. What do you think? You know what I'm saying? So um when I look this way, I get the good shot coming behind it, but I'm over here this way you get the profile shot. It's like I don't know. That's just from having right now. Yeah. So I gotta figure shit out. Really get this going because I'm just like it's not fucking conducive to a good live that I want. But let's see. It's weird because like right now, like I'm good with time and everything. But it's just a matter of um do I really want to stream right now? It's kind of odd. Like I got good timing, I got some good rest this morning. It's gonna be 1 o'clock already. I do have to go to the gym though. So I'm gonna see a wifey wants to go to the gym. And yeah, she feels though. I don't think she feels too well. And yeah. And I may have to oh, happy birthday shout out to my grandson. He's 2 years old today. We went to actually his let's talk about that, chat. So yeah, he's 2 years old today. Um and yesterday we spent time with him at a bouncy house, which was super cool. I didn't bounce nowhere. But my wallet did some bouncing. And that's yeah, that's where it was like maybe a 2 hour type of thing. The whole entire family was there. It was super dope. All the kids had fun. Mainly, it's just the kids I have because I have a lot of fucking kids, and all my kids are older already. So I have all these old heads just fucking jump around the bounce house was super cool. Some of them figured out they're out of shape, but other than that, it was super cool. I wasn't going in there. I wasn't ready for that shit. And but we had fun. I did some basketball. My shot, my shot's clean, boy. My shot's clean. But other than that, man, it's just we had a good time yesterday. Had an overall good time the whole weekend. Um, but we are gonna look into some stuff. I know last time we looked at some what should we call it? What you call it? Homes and shit. But I want to look at some land, like how to buy land. You guys gonna go on a journey with me? How to buy land in Georgia? Actually, I won't mind buying land in Alabama, Mississippi. Um, Imagine if I did that. Bought some land in Alabama, Mississippi, streamed the whole thing. We even buy land here in Georgia. But no, I think if I buy land in Georgia, so this is my dilemma with Georgia, especially I'm buying the land part here. One, North Georgia is just beautiful, right? And you have the mountains, you have the Appalachian Mountains, you have the Blue Ridge Mountains, stuff like that. It's gorgeous land. It's beautiful. A lot of hills, very nice. But it's hell of expensive. It's pricier to get, something up there on just North Georgia. I wouldn't say all of North Georgia. I'm sure I could find some kind of, not so inhabited counties and maybe cities, in the northern region. But for the most part, yeah. It's very developed in North Georgia because of Atlanta. Atlanta is in North Georgia, so the northern part of the state, the metro area, is fucking just it's insane. But Middle Georgia and South Georgia has a shitload of land. My only problem with that is that because Atlanta is like a Goldilocks zone, it really is. Is like compared for storms or on types of stuff, like we don't get terribly hit with bad storms. Like if it's a winter storm, we rarely get snow. We may get a flurry. Like last winter, we got some decent snow. We were able to make snowmen and shit. But then if you go to South Metro Atlanta, they didn't really get much at all. Doesn't snow that much here at all. So that's a plus. Nobody wants to be shoveling fucking snow. But on top of that, it's just more expensive. South Georgia has a different. So the further south you go, the tree line begins to go down. I love trees, right? Especially in North Georgia, very tall trees, beautiful trees, very lush. But as you go further south into Florida, because of the climate change, the trees get they're shorter. There are different types of trees. You don't have that much cover. Weather-wise, you can be exposed more to the elements because of that as well. Like I said, being in Atlanta, like, exposure to the elements of bad storms, it's very rare. By the time a tornado storm hits us coming from like west from Alabama, Mississippi, those storms kind of just fuck up Alabama, Mississippi pretty bad. And then by the time it gets to us, it's like a bad thunderstorm. Not to say we don't get hit with tornadoes, because we do, but it's not as much as you would think being in the South. But yeah, so like now South Georgia will just get more of the outer bands hit harder with them from the rain and shit of hurricanes. I'm like, well, how bad can it be? The difference of it, My idea is definitely to have land, be self-sufficient on it, solar. I do want to have a bunker because it's like if I know the weather-wise between tornadoes and hurricanes, or build a home that's tornado or hurricane proof. Let's look at that. Let's see. Because I don't like understand why we still fucking use the chopsticks of wood that we use. Okay, this is a good one. This
An app with your name on it, just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
There are around 1,200 tornadoes like this in the US every year, all concentrated around this area. And it feels like the aftermath is always the same.
Okay. We were hit! I might crying and say, oh my God, I'm gonna die.
But wait, hold on. Rewind there for a moment. Right there, stop. All of this wreckage is timber. These were wooden houses. If tornadoes are this common, if they can destroy your house, why aren't we building stronger houses? Didn't we learn?
This is my exact fucking question. Why don't we build, homes based off your weather elements that you have, right?
Learn that lesson as kids? I'm not American, so as fascinated and frightened as I am of tornadoes, I've had this question for years, and it turns out the answer is not as obvious as I thought. First of all, Americans are stubbornly obsessed with building with timber. An estimated 90% of new homes in America are still made of wood. In Texas, one of the states
Which boggles my fucking mind.
with the most tornadoes, this is the typical construction process. Wooden frames, plywood walls. Some homes use brick on the outside, but they're often cosmetic and not load-bearing walls. Tornado shelters are no longer a thing. 97% of new homes built in Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas don't have one.
That makes no sense to me either. So you're gonna build me a home of fucking toothpicks, and then don't provide me a basement, at least, that can convert into a shelter. You just put slabs down. I just don't understand. I'm not sure how that can be.
But just move a few miles down to Ciudad Juarez, where the GDP per capita is half of Texas's. Most construction is concrete bricks. Study after study and real-life experiences have shown that concrete can withstand the debris of tornado, mostly without structural damage. So why use wood? Is it a cost problem? Is it a lack of materials? Turns out it's neither. This required me to geek through a few spreadsheets though, and I'm gonna get to those in a sec. Here are two typical American houses. In 2023, an average 2,000 square foot home in the US with the usual timber framing construction cost around $250,000 to build. Meanwhile, the average concrete home would have cost around $350,000 or around 40% more. But by the way, there are tons of estimates of home building costs, some placing concrete homes almost at the same price as wooden homes, and this will, of course, vary significantly depending on what you pick. This balance got even closer post-pandemic with the rise of timber prices, some placing it as close as only 5% extra per square foot of construction to build your home in concrete. Okay, but even if concrete is more expensive, isn't the tornado protection worth the extra cost? When
Yes.
an EF4, the second largest tornado in the scale, hits a home, it hits it with up to 200 mile/hour wind. The roof is often the first part to go. As wind enters through the broken windows or open doors, it increases the internal pressure of the home and creates the suction effect. And with the roof gone, walls, particularly those perpendicular to the wind's direction, are exposed to lateral forces that they are not designed to withstand. Also, tornadoes can hurl debris with incredible force. Objects picked up by a tornado become projectiles that can smash into homes, breaking windows and penetrating walls. A concrete home is protected against most of these factors, not to mention hurricanes or earthquakes, and they have better insulation, which translates to energy savings. It sounds obvious to me, so why aren't we doing it? Well, the thing is, the US has been building timber homes for a long, long time. Historically, humans have built houses using many different materials, but still, by the Middle Ages, urban European homes were already transitioning to stone and brick construction. But this never really happened in America. From traditional timber framing to balloon framing to finally platform framing, which is what we have today, timber has always been abundant in the US. It's cheap, it's fast, and Americans have been perfecting it for centuries. And this process is easy. Construction workers and contractors understand it, and they have a lot of experience, and people prefer building structures that they understand. I can barely put a nail on a wall, but many Americans feel comfortable making renovations or repairs on wooden homes, and poured concrete or concrete block homes have completely different care requirements. There's also resale value. Like a dome home, while resistant to many disasters, it's not for everyone. But even normal-looking concrete homes tend to be harder to sell, mostly because home buyers are not used to the design and the maintenance of, well, the material that most people use. Let's put all of this in a scale. I get why wood makes sense, but to me, survive a tornado is enough to tilt the scale over.
Yes.
Most Americans would seem to disagree.
It's not
In
true.
short, that's because as scary, common, devastating, as clickbaity as tornadoes might be, the odds of a tornado hitting your home are very, very low. This article says that the chances of being hit by a tornado are 1 in 4 million, but I'm not gonna bet my home on that. This article says it's 1 in 5.6 million. Which is it? This 1986 paper says that the highest probability area is in central Oklahoma, and there's a 1 in 1.6 million chance of your home being hit by a tornado. So I asked ChatGPT, I asked it to run this math for me, and it landed at a 1 in 4.1 million probability of being hit by a tornado in an 80-year lifetime of living in the US tornado alley. Either way, may it be 1 in 12,000 or 1 in 4 million.
Just from the cost savings alone, and why not have a dome home? That way you can get rid of the roof piece where the issues you will have, right? Of the roof coming off. In Florida, they have concrete homes. Puerto Rico, they build, concrete homes and stilts because of hurricanes. And, of course, not everyone can afford it. But to his point, why not think about the future and longevity?
It's too damn high. if you ask me. But many people in tornado areas don't feel tornadoes like I do.
Here in the Midwest, you have tornado warnings and you take cover all the time.
You guys ever been through a tornado before?
I've never seen one in my life.
No part of me thought that we wouldn't be safe.
This map shows the average number of days in a year when each of these areas experiences a tornado within 25 miles of any point. For most of Tornado Alley, it's under 1 day a year. People go entire lifetimes without seeing a tornado, so it's definitely not the imminent danger that we outsiders perceive it to be, or that the news suggests it is. Still, if you're the one in 4,199,916 odds of getting hit, insurance is gonna cover it. And it turns out that mentality is exactly the root of this predicament. Let's say that we go out and build one of those houses that we discussed earlier, a 2,000 square foot home. If we build it with wood, we're gonna pay around $284,000 to build it. And if we build it in concrete blocks or ICF, it'll cost around $350,000. Assuming that we cover a 20% down payment for both homes, here's what we'll end up paying in mortgage interest. And then of course, most certainly, you have to insure it. And I really do mean that you have to insure it. Not insuring your home is as unthinkable in the US as living without health insurance. If you owe part of your home to the bank, you need insurance, and around 60% of US homes currently have a mortgage on them. Plus, the US is one of the most litigious countries in the world. Americans love lawsuits. You don't want to risk a lawsuit from your tenant or from your neighbor or for some random reason like your dog biting someone or a tree falling over your neighbor. Having an uninsured home in the US is like a lawsuit waiting to happen. Only 7.4% of homes in the country are uninsured, compared to, for example, 25% of homes in the UK that don't have insurance. Not getting insurance isn't even an option.
Would this make you buy a Ridge wallet? Two people
Crazy.
would win a Lamborghini Huracan Sterrato, a Hennessy Velociraptor, or
Let's add it to the equation. The average premium in Texas is $4,300, and we're gonna use that for wooden homes. The premiums for insuring a concrete home can be around 25% lower because it's a safer home.
Yeah.
But okay, let's add that to the adjustment, which makes premiums similar despite the higher construction cost and the higher dwelling coverage. Not accounting for repairs or maintenance or potential power savings, living in a wooden home for 30 years will cost you around $572,000, while on a concrete home, it'll cost you around $746,000. Let's assume a $1,000 standard deductible. Essentially, you could have 10 tornadoes hit your house and have to rebuild it time again 10 times. And it's still cheaper to keep the wooden home. And that is the point of this whole thing. Concrete just makes no financial sense for Americans, even those living in the tornado alley. So is that it? In the end, building a tornado-proof home, like insurance, is a question of odds. You can save a few $100,000 and build a bigger house, or you can build a safer, albeit smaller, one like the third pig did. You are more likely to be hit by lightning than by a tornado, but you don't want to be that person. Last year, at least 82 people were killed by tornadoes, and this is how many of them we've had so far this year. Most tornado casualties happen in cars or in mobile homes, but wooden homes with no shelters are very vulnerable too. Most Texans have stopped building tornado shelters for their homes, with neither underground nor reinforced concrete rooms inside the house. And the general reason is that, well, people don't want to pay for them. And there's no mandate to build them either. But then again,
That's crazy.
are you willing to gamble this chance, this possibility against a
No, I would either build a safe room, like he just showed. Like a lot of people have them in the garage. I would probably do like an off garage, like where you have to access it through the garage, but it's off to the side of the home. I would probably love to look at different, 3D. We're gonna probably check out 3D printing. I would love to check out 3D printing, which essentially is just concrete, but you can get better angles and probably cooler angles. I just feel, and also the termite issue. That's what he's not touching on either. Like, there's a huge termite issue in America. There's so many homes in the South. I see just their window sills are eaten through. That I'm not sure how the fuck their houses. And there's two things. There's one thing they say about termites. Whenever you buy a home, it's either you're buying a home with termites, or you're buying a home that's about to get termites. You're gonna get termites regardless of the fact. Yeah.
extra $250,000? I'm actually asking that. You want to drop that in the comments. See you on the next one.
He was good. I never heard of him before. He was good actually. Let's give him a like and follow. Let's subscribe. Let's like. Cool. I thought he was good. What else he has? He's called The Hustle. What else does he have in here? Oh, this is more like a channel of a collage of people. Okay, I get it. Gotcha. Okay, there's some things here I can see. Oh wow, this is a cool channel. Okay, pretty cool channel. What do you guys think? So let's go to 3D. How am I typing right now? 3D printed house right here. This was 2 years ago. Interesting. Why 3D printing leads to problems.
3D printing and
Let's see what they're talking about here.
3D printing an entire house. Computer files automatically translated into physical objects, even full-scale houses out of concrete. Making buildings like this promises to convert digital designs easily and faithfully into real physical structures in the world. This sounds like a dream, except there's quite a few challenges that are getting in the way. And frankly, the buildings made like this, they look a little weird. But companies across the world,
I like a little fucking weird. I want my house to be different, and I'm tired of my house looking like some cookie cutter shit. Like, I drive through my fucking subdivision, and every house looks the fucking same. I want different. I want it to look odd. I want it to be, just not the fucking same. Your house should represent, like any car I have, I customize. Because I want to exude myself on the car. The same thing on my home. I want my home to represent me and and have a different look to it that I enjoy. Of course, I want a design that's I'm gonna live with this motherfucker. So I want a design I'm gonna love throughout the years. So when I'm home, I could drive up to it saying, "This is my shit. I love this house." There's many homes out there. There's horrible designs. And it's like, this house is shit. So I don't know.
by racing to make the process scalable, affordable, sustainable, and palatable to people that would just prefer living in a more traditional looking home.
Your next guest launched a 3D printed home business to fight the affordability crisis. His company, Allquist 3D, completed the first ever owner-occupied printed home in Williamsburg, Virginia in 2021.
And their success could shake up everything, changing how we design and make buildings forever. The pace of innovation in the construction industry is unbearably slow when comparing it to other industries like automobiles or digital technologies like phones or computers, for instance. This slow pace, it's usually blamed on the complexity of making buildings where every site is unique, and then couple that with how the trades and building product manufacturers work together, or don't. The building construction industry, it just cannot be vertically integrated like those more agile industries. Cars and phones, they sell thousands or millions of units, which make unique technologically advanced manufacturing solutions much more plausible. These roadblocks have thwarted countless of promising innovations over the years. Elon Musk disrupted the auto industry, even spaceflight, but his ventures into construction, they've repeatedly failed. But 3D printing houses promises to cut across all these challenges. It works by using a large computer-controlled gantry or robot machine. Precision motors control movement and the X, Y, and Z coordinates, while a head deposits a special concrete mixture. It lays down a series of layers, one on top of the other, over and over, until the building is complete. And in some ways, this is similar to how a brick house might be made. But instead of a human bricklayer performing the repetitive task of placing each brick module, this robot just repeatedly adds layers of a much finer mixture. Bricks and grout are substituted for cement and aggregate. I use this analogy between bricks and 3D printing concrete, and I'll keep coming back to it because bricks have certain limitations. For instance, you can only stack bricks on top of themselves or on top of other things. If there's no brick underneath to support the next one, it just falls over. So you can't make openings in walls using just bricks. You have to use a lintel, usually made of steel or concrete, to be able to span over the void and then transfer the loads down to the ground. And 3D printing has similar limitations. You can only pile wet concrete on top of other wet concrete or something else. And just like the brick house, 3D printing openings is a challenge. Maybe you have to place something to hold the layers that would otherwise just be floating in the air. Then as the layers build up and they cure over time, the whole thing could be strong enough to span over the opening, or you could just leave the steel member in there as a lintel. Well, those limitations, they're not a big deal. There's something that bricks can do that 3D printing buildings cannot do, and that's make a sharp 90-degree outside corner. It's hard to stop and start the flow of the concrete cleanly. It always leaves this mark. So to keep the flow continuous, you have to round the outside corners and hide the times when the flow stops, and you hide them inside of the thickness of the wall. That's where no one will see it. And that's why all the examples of the 3D printed houses have those flowing outside curvy shapes. That's only one.
What's wrong with that though? I'm tired of fucking square angled shit. Wouldn't that be better for wind? You know what I'm saying? Like, why not have something that doesn't have no fucking angles, not so blocky? Let's move into new design. Let's move into the fucking future.
One way that this new construction technology will change the design and the way that we configure our buildings. But to understand all the other ways, we need to look at the various stages of the design and construction process that this offers. It begins in the computer, where the architect lays out the rooms. At the broadest of scales, this can be pretty similar to a traditional house, using the usual relationships between the bedrooms, living rooms, and kitchens. But the details are much different. And even at this early stage, the designer needs to be able to understand the limitations of the machines and the materials of construction to make sure that the forms that are being modeled in the computer can actually be translated. Once the design is complete, the file passes through a program that translates all of the surfaces of the digital model into a series of instructions that the printer can follow. This includes when, where, and how fast everything should be moving. This can be used to drive simulators that will detect any potential problems and then also offer estimates on how long the project will take. If that all checks out, we can start setting everything up on site. The 3D printer is brought to the site in pieces on a truck. And the whole thing is modular so that no piece is larger than one will easily fit on a truck bed. Once everything is there, it can take about a day or so to set up the machinery. The gantry starts with the foundation blocks that need to be as level as possible. And from there, everything is erected, shimmed, and then bolted into place. It's critical that everything is perfectly square and level, or the machines, they could jam, or it might deposit materials in ways that disrupts the final product and just doesn't look good. And this is an important theme, I think, for assessing the overall promise and the limitations of 3D printed construction. And it has to do with the idea of tolerance. Different parts of buildings operate within a variety of tolerance levels. And that's the word that's used to describe the acceptable variability of dimensions for a building component. For instance, it's totally acceptable for a brick wall to be anywhere within 20 millimeters from where it's drawn in the architect's drawings. It's okay for the wall to be 20 millimeters too far this way or this way. It's just the nature of how we build things in an imperfect world. There's a discrepancy between where the perfect place is for it and where it can actually be. And when humans are piecing the building together over time and in parts, it's relatively easy to compensate within the construction process and mask those imperfections with trim or other materials that are easier to work with or have finer tolerances. But computers and robots don't yet operate with the same ranges of acceptable tolerance. It's more difficult for them to just adapt to the imperfections of the real world. And concrete, the preferred material of 3D printing, requires a lot of tolerance. For standard construction practices, a concrete wall can be within 25 millimeters of where it's supposed to be and still be considered to be in the right place. For a computer without this tolerance calculated in, 25 millimeters can spell disaster. Despite that challenge, One of the payoffs of getting this whole process right is that it only takes about 3 or 4 people around 24 or 48 hours to complete the printing of an entire house.
Wow.
Contrast this with bricklaying, for instance, which might take,
I thought it would be fast. I didn't know it was going to be that fucking fast.
I don't know, a couple weeks for a human to place 8 to 10,000 bricks in a typical house. And like bricks too, the concrete shell is only one component though of many within the complete building. You have to supplement this infrastructure with other things like window units and millwork and built-ins, plumbing and electrical and things like that. This is again where the challenge of tolerance comes in. The rest of the building industry is tailored to a certain way of constructing things that leaves smooth, straight, and levelish locations for things like cabinets and windows to go in. Trying to fit in a perfectly extruded aluminum window into a lumpy concrete opening leaves a pretty significant gap between the two. This needs to be filled in with something, usually caulk, which isn't the most durable or clean-looking solution. So detailing how 3D printed concrete meets these other elements can be a real challenge. But if we go back to the printing itself, everything comes down to this: concrete being extruded through a nozzle. There's a lot of chemistry, physics that is at play here that ultimately determine.
I guess that's the mess he was talking about, that turnaround in the interior. That looks nasty.
Whether the final house will be a lumpy mess or graced with smooth, elegant surfaces. You have the concrete itself, which is actually a very special blend of it. Critical factors such as how well it flows through the system and how supportive it is are dependent on the precise mixture of just a few ingredients. These are the cement or the binder, the aggregate or the stuff that you're binding, and any additional ingredients that are usually called admixtures. And these impact things like drying time or the ductility of the material. All of these ingredients offer trade-offs with ranges within which their use becomes an asset or a liability. For instance, larger aggregate material can be printed faster, and the larger, coarser rocks actually ensures that there's better bonding between the printed layers. This is actually the most important factor for determining the overall strength of the house in the end. But if the aggregate is too large, it'll clog up the nozzle. So you want to get the sizes just right, large enough without being too large. Admixtures help with balancing things like buildability, workability, and extrudability. Fly ash is actually the main admixture for high-performance 3D printed concrete. It allows the concrete to remain in the sweet spot of workability for a longer period, and it actually makes the overall thing more durable in the end. However, large amounts of fly ash can lead to slower development of strength and buildability, which is why it's often mixed with other things like clay to retain shape stability while it all sets. This concrete passes through a head, and it also has a significant impact on how things will turn out in the end. Some heads are round, while others are more rectangular in shape. Sometimes they have a little rake to spread things out, but this can create a buildup at the edges, which leads to a rougher texture in the end. For the rectangular nozzle, the head itself needs to rotate so that the broad side of the head stays perpendicular to the vector of motion. With most 3D printed houses today, the concrete is left exposed on both the outside and the inside. The concrete is also the structural material helping to hold everything up. And in typical construction, these tasks are done with very different materials that are tailored to perform well for their specific application. Drywall, for instance, makes a...
What I don't understand is that why don't you just frame the inside, like do the concrete, printing, but then frame the inside, put drywall up if you really want to. I don't see why that's not an issue. I don't see how that's an issue. Now, no doubt, you'll probably lose some space in the interior, but then that's where you make the overall size of the home a little bit bigger to compensate.
Great interior surface, but you don't put it on the outside, and you certainly don't ask it to help hold up the whole building. But with 3D printed concrete, the extruded, layered walls have to do it all. And there are obvious compromises here. For instance, if anything gets a little off in the construction process on site, you're forever haunted by a memorial of this imperfection forever. Not everything needs to be printed all at once in a single pass, though. You can break up the house into different parts, and some parts can be pre-built off-site or just in a different orientation that will end up in the final house. You can make it upside down, for instance, then flip it over. These pieces can be hoisted into place when it's time for them in the buildup of the overall structure. So this is how you make things like cantilevers, for instance, where there's nothing to support it underneath. Or maybe certain parts of the building, they're not even 3D printed at all, maybe like the porch or a pitched roof, which wouldn't make any sense to print. That said, with 3D printed houses, you usually get an inner layer and an outer layer of extrusion. These are tied together with more layers of concrete that are printed back and forth, or they use these metal ties that help string them together.
So this is a small scale example of how the walls can be built. We do the exterior beads, and we come back and we do the infill of the structure.
And all of this aids in the overall strength of the wall, and it offers space for insulation in between. For reference, this too is similar to the way that a brick wall might be made. Inside, the cavity is filled with polystyrene foam that fills in the gaps, and it insulates the whole assembly. Water could also get into this gap at some point, so the bottom is actually sloped with holes cut in the outside layer to be able to manage for drainage. So there's all of these design limitations, which to me seem pretty manageable. But I think the greatest challenge with 3D printing technology, at least as it is right now, has to do with the relative inflexibility of the building after construction. If anything happens to the 3D printed part of the structure, it's almost impossible to be able to repair it back to its original state. What are you going to do? Bring out that giant machine? Also, the machine needs direct access from above to do its job. You're not going to take off the roof to be able to fix it. Additions or renovations are all the same thing. Another limitation that I see right now is that the companies that are using this technology are attempting to become more vertically integrated, more so than a typical construction companies. They might have in-house architects, they manage the machines, and they oversee the entire construction process. And this makes for a really closed system. An architect can't just dabble with 3D printed buildings, for instance. So the barrier to entry is just really high. And what if the company that made your house goes out of business? You'll never be able to make repairs or additions that fit in with the original. Buildings are made with modules and layers for a reason. Each layer is tailored to the task that it needs to perform, and it works in concert with the other layers of the assembly. The modularity ensures that any part can just be replaced when needed and not leave any visible scars. Thinking of a building as one large, seamless object is completely antithetical to the realities that buildings face. Components of buildings could very easily be 3D printed, and likely are these days. But at that scale, the scale of a component, it's often more economical to fabricate it in other ways. It's easy to create a reusable mold to cast concrete into, for instance. It doesn't make sense to 3D print a building part that could just be made more easily in another way. And in this sense, I find it curious that 3D printing in other industries is usually a method for making prototypes of things. It's not more efficient for large-scale manufacturing. But with buildings, because each one is more like a prototype, the promise of
Okay, so this make it modular. You can probably get more edges out of it. This fucking just do it as concrete. I'm tired of shit.
3D printing is more about scaling up and reproducibility.
Yeah, but look at the design. I like the design, man. Like, I don't know. I'm weird.
This modular approach to fabrication, it's also true for other things like razors. But most companies, they're not innovating fabrication methods to provide a better shave. Take cartridge blades, for instance. You find them in almost every grocery store, but this concoction is really just devised to make more money for the company. They charge up to $2 per cartridge and then convince you that it's special because it has 5 blades and a lubricating strip. The next thing you know, you're paying hundreds of dollars a year for something that you don't really need. The truth is that one blade is plenty if you use it correctly. One company that's doing it right is today's sponsor, Henson Shaving. Henson turns the traditional business model upside down. Instead of designing a cheap old handle and charging a fortune for blades, they developed a precision-engineered razor that supports the entire width of the single blade at a depth of only 27 microns. This means that there's no way for the blade to flex or bend, and these are the things that cause skin irritation. Henson's expertise comes from making parts for satellites and space probes. They've engineered stuff that's on Mars right now. So when I say that 30 degrees is the perfect angle for a blade to shave the skin, you can trust them. The razor not only provides a better shave than cartridge blades, but it's also way cheaper. Each blade costs only 10 cents.
What?
You can go through 20 blades for the price of one cartridge blade. And here's the best part. If you use the promo code StuartHicks at checkout, you'll get a package of 100
I'm going to get that. What the fuck is this called? What is this thing called? Arcade Stainless. Okay, it's a promo code.
blades for free. Just go to hensonshaving.com, pick out the razor that you like, add the 100 pack of blades to your order, and when you enter the promo code, the price of the blades will be deducted. You probably won't have to spend another dime on shaving for the rest of the entire year. I absolutely love my razor as a high quality, well-made personal item. So treat yourself or get one as a gift for someone that also appreciates quality design. Once again, that's hensonshaving.com. Get 100 blades for free with promo code Stuart Hicks. Links are down below. Enjoy, and as always, thanks for watching. 3D printing.
Okay. Well, that was dope. I gotta say. That was dope. I wouldn't mind getting a 3D printer hell. I think that's yeah. Cool. Yeah, I think that would work. I got some studying to do, so I gotta get off. But this was fire. This is super dope. Thank you guys again. This live was crazy. We was able to salvage it towards the end. The beginning was bananas. A lot of technical difficulties, but we got there, worked through it. Yeah, it's time for me to get things going. But thank you. I appreciate the stream, W's. My goal is to ensure that get the best quality in the stream possible. I really want to start showing shit I really want to watch, but I think I'll probably do it on Rumble. I think I may do a live on Rumble or start fucking with Rumble, because Rumble you can do a lot more. Um, but we will see. Twitch is it's where it's at right now. I know TikTok's supposed to be shutting down by September 15th. So I'm gonna try to migrate a lot of my people over there from TikTok to Twitch. And make that happen. Pretty much, And ensure that we are there we go. Where we need to be. So we're maybe I could do one more video. I don't know. Let's see. See what we got. No, I'm gonna keep it tight. I'm gonna keep it Gucci. Let's call it how it is. And let's see. we're gonna keep this going. Let's see. Whew. Yo, I'm fucking tired, y'all, from the real. Super tired. I had a question that came up to me yesterday that when would I be going back to New York? When would I be visiting back my hometown? I don't know. I don't miss New York. It's nothing about it that I miss right now. You know, I lived there at a very young age. I left pretty early too, and I've been in Atlanta ever since as an adult. So I lived in New York until I was an adult. Left when I was an adult as well, but I don't miss it. I guess maybe that's because of where I grew up. I grew up in the hood, grew up in the projects. What the fuck is there to miss? I have a way better life right now. Doesn't mean I wouldn't like to go. Not in the capacity to go visit, you know, my old stomping grounds and shit like that. I wouldn't mind taking my kids for a tour. Say, hey, this is where dad lived at. But do you really take your kids on a tour to the ghetto? I don't think so. But I wouldn't mind spending time with them in the city. And for people who don't live in New York City, we call the city Manhattan, even though the five boroughs compromise make up the city. And I wouldn't mind staying with them in Manhattan, like catching plays. I love plays, man. Catching a bunch of plays, which is they're very expensive, but maybe maybe two plays. Go to some restaurants, eat some, get some good eats. Walk around Central Park a little something. You know, um, keep it safe, keep it simple. And then from there, just enjoy it how it's supposed to be. So that's my thing with that. Ensuring that if we do it, we do it differently. Yeah, it has been a minute that we've been up there together. It's been a very long time. Um, the only way I would go is to take everybody with us. You know what I'm saying? To take all the kids so they can, see New York, experience New York for what it is. A bucket list type of thing. Um, Last time I went to New York was my aunt's passing. We drove up there, and it just seems every time I go to New York is just because someone passed away. It's not because to enjoy it. It's not just to chill. So we will see. I know I will not drive up there. I know that unless the only way I would drive up there if we made stops along the way, like on purpose stops. Like I know that it takes about 16 hours to get to New York. It will probably take me 3 fucking days because I'm gonna want to stop. Right? Maybe stop at DC, shit like that. There's nothing else to see, honestly, on the way up there. Just DC. I would fly. I would definitely fucking fly. Get a plane ticket, fly up there. I don't even know what part you want to rent a car or not. No, it's difficult when you have a big family because you have to be thinking about the traveling situation. Can we take the train? Can we walk around? Yes. Will my kids be ready to walk around? I don't think so. It's a lot of walking. I think the little toesies will hurt them. But yeah, we could jump on the train. I think Uber's a hell of expensive up there, so is cabbies. Cabs are expensive. It's tough to travel for a large fucking family. And if we rented a car, there's not many places you can fucking park your shit. So transportation overall is difficult in New York. For a large family, that is. Um. So yes, I don't know. That's something to think about logistically. Best time to probably go would be Christmas time because it's so beautiful in Christmas time. I love Christmas time. I know the wife would love to probably go there during Christmas. But other than that, yeah, yeah. So, all right, guys, that's the stream. Thanks for listening to my little tidbit right there. But come on back. We're gonna try to get better on the schedule. I fixed the shit I was had issues with today. Gotta get the camera situation fixed up. Hopefully by next time you guys see me, the camera is in a different position. I had to make some investments to get that camera going and spend some time in finagling, which we will do. It won't be a problem. But thanks again. Peace out.